Right, hello. I was just thinking to myself, looking at the amount of cord lines that we've got growing around my area. I mean, my next door neighbour there has, I don't know, 6 or 7 dotted about the garden. I have a couple of fairly big ones there. I'd say pretty much mature. Good 16, 18 foot. I got to thinking, if you've got a plant like that, which are sort of nice, another one there in the next door's neighbour garden the other side, is something that's really common, does it make it less desirable? So I do talk about the cord lines a lot just because they're pretty solid and really sort of low maintenance, other than picking up the leaves that fall off in the wind. They're an easy plant, but because they're common, you know, people do tend to overlook them. You know, they're not necessarily something that'd be on your list if you know, I don't know, if you're just starting a tropical garden, a lot of people would, that'd probably be a go-to plant. But I think people who have been into the sort of tropical style for longer, I don't know, they tend to sneer their nose up a bit at it and think they're, you know, too common for me. They want something a bit different. And yes, I can see, I mean, like I say, especially where I am, there are, you see there, some cord lines there. They are literally everywhere, and I suppose in a way that's a good sign that, you know, you've got a good chance of growing them if you see lots of plants about. But to an extent you could say the same for the Trachycarpus fortunei. You see a good fair few of these about, and I'm sort of divided on the fortunei because they are good solid plants, you know, pretty much, well, they are bulletproof in most parts of the UK. I don't go mad for them. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I like them, but they can look messy. And obviously, this one's not too bad, it's grown in full sun, but I've got another one in shade, and they look really scruffy. So yeah, the better option obviously would be the Trachycarpus wagnerianus, or Waggy. But yeah, I don't think we should discount plants just because they're common. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the unusual and the rare plants and hard to get hold of, but on the same note, they can be quite frustrating when they die on you, and that's, you know, an expensive business. So I'd say another common one you'll see everywhere is the Phoenix canariensis. You see these in literally every supermarket, every garden centre, nursery, anywhere you go that sells plants, you're going to see these, and they are not the hardiest palms, but again, they are cheap. So this is why they sell a lot of them. So if you are, again, they're quite common. You see them in a small size. You'll see them. A lot of people have them in pots, and obviously they're not as hardy as in the ground if they're in a pot. But they are, you know, a nice architectural looking plant, and I think you really notice them as they get bigger. It's easy to, if you whack a small one in the border, to overlook it, and you know, they do look nice in a pot, in a display, but yeah, they're easy to overlook because they're, again, quite common until you get to a certain size, and they sort of really jump out at you just for the fact that you don't see that many big ones about because of the hardiness. but I've done videos on the hardiness of these and a little bit of protection when they're small, and if you're in a reasonable part of the country then you've got a good chance of growing them. But again, space issue, they do get huge. You could be looking, I mean this one is already, I'm going to guesstimate, nearly 3 meters across. So yeah, it's easy to plop in the ground and forget about them for a few years, to enjoy them, but you know, not really think about it. And then you'll hit the patch where they start to expand around the base, and they really do start putting on some growth. And the last 2 years I've really noticed the size on this. I had a photo from 2 years ago, and the fronds were below the fence line. So in 2 years, I don't know, we've gained 4 or 5 foot in height. So again, that's just a case of, I'm going to be keeping this under control in a way of just trimming the older lower fronds off, because again these can get in the way a bit, and they've obviously got needles down the bottom of the petioles, but even the leaves themselves are quite sharp. You could do some nasty eye injuries on that. So yes, I will trim that up in the spring. But again, a common plant which a lot of people overlook, or think, oh, I can't grow that, they're not hardy. Well, a little bit of protection the first few years, and you've got a good chance of getting a decent plant, if that's what you want. A lot of people will just use them as bedding for the summer, and you know, when they're cheap enough, why not? So yeah, another common plant, but definitely worth growing in my opinion. Again, you've got your Fatsies, you've got even the Tetrapanax to an extent is getting a bit more common now, so are people going to start sneering their nose up at that because it's common? I know there's always new varieties and new species coming out which are found to be hardy, which you know, I'd like to experiment and push my luck as much as the next person. So I do like the rare, but I can appreciate the common species as well, side by side. Right, we'll leave it at that. It's just my thoughts on the matter. Don't discount plants just because they're common. They're still good looking plants. Thanks for watching.